Hello students, welcome to my class of electrostatics in dielectric medium. In the last class, we discussed about the polarization of polar molecules. So we saw if we place a polar molecule in electric field, what will be the polarization and how the polar molecule will be oriented along the electric field. Then we saw the concept of bound charge, how bound charge is generated inside a dielectric medium when we place it in a electric field. Now today we want to see the form of those bound charges inside the dielectric medium. Now suppose this is a piece of polarized object, means it is a dielectric medium and it is placed in a electric field, and we are getting a dipole moment or polarization inside the dielectric medium. So this is a polarized dielectric object. Now suppose the polarization is this capital P vector, and we have seen the by definition what is the definition of polarization or polarization vector, that is dipole moment per unit volume. Now we want to find out the electric potential due to this polarized object at this point. Now to do that, we can divide this piece of polarized object into infinitesimal dipoles and integrate to get the total potential. So suppose for the dipole moment for a single dipole is this small p vector, then the potential will be of this form. We have calculated this, the potential for a single dipole in the very first class. So this is the form of the potential for a single dipole. Now here this r is the vector from the dipole to the point at which we are evaluating the potential. So the dipole moment, we in terms of the polarization vector, we know that capital P d tau. So this is the elemental volume, and corresponding to that the dipole moment is P. So the polarization vector, if it is P, then if we multiply with the volume of this element, then we get the dipole moment corresponding to this elemental volume. Okay, so the total potential we can write from here, r cap dot p capital p r prime, capital P r prime by r square d tau. Now what is this r prime? This r prime is the distance from the origin. Suppose this is the origin of a coordinate system, and this is the distance of this elemental volume from the origin. Now here the distance from the origin to the P point where we want to find out the potential is this tilted r. So the distance from the dipole to the P point will be r minus tilted r minus tilted r prime. So here this is the tilted r prime. So this prime is actually indicating the source point coordinates, which is x prime, y prime, z prime. Now when we talk about field point coordinates, that is with respect to this P point. Field point means where we want to find out the potential. So in that case the coordinate we will write x, y and z. So this is the form of the potential, and from here we can write this. So in place of r prime by r square, we are writing del prime 1 by r. So here del prime is the gradient with respect to the source point coordinate. Now if you want to write the gradient with respect to the field point, so that will be in opposite direction. So in that case, we can write minus del 1 by r. So del prime 1 by r is basically minus of del 1 by r. So del prime 1 by r is indicating the rate of change of 1 by r with respect to the source point coordinate, and del 1 by r represents the rate of change with respect to the field point coordinates. Okay, now using the vector identity, that is divergence k a vector. K is a constant, so this will be k divergence a plus gradient k dot a. So this k is basically a scalar coordinate which is not dependent on the direction, so that's why we can keep it outside, and when we are using it we have to use the gradient on that scalar function. We know that from the vector calculus. Now, if we use this divergence p vector by 1 by r, that is 1 by r divergence p vector plus gradient of 1 by r dot p. Now, why we are writing this? Because if you see this formula here, this form is here, and here also we have this form. So p vector dot gradient 1 by r is basically divergence p by r minus 1 by r divergence p vector. So we are putting this form of the here, then we get this. Now here the first term is divergence p by r d tau prime, and the second term is minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught divergence p by r d tau. So if we use the electrostatic Gauss's law, then from here to here we can write that 1 by r p dA prime, right? So this is the Gauss's theorem, and if we put this minus sign here it becomes plus, and we are writing of this form. Now here this first term is the potential of a surface charge which is of this form. So here this n cap is the unit normal, outward unit normal on the surface of the element dA, right? So here this sigma b, we can write p vector dot n cap here, and the first term becomes like this. You can see sigma b by r dA prime, and the second term is the potential of a volume charge which is rho b, that is minus divergence p, and you can see this is the form. So this is the combination of the potential is coming from the surface charge which is accumulated on the surface of the dielectric due to the application of electric field. This is the polarized surface charge, and this is the volume polarized volume charge which is inside the dielectric medium. So as a whole this is the potential due to the total bound charge. Now let's discuss the physical interpretation of the bound charge. So this is a dielectric medium, and if we apply the electric field the dipole will be oriented like this we are talking about polar dielectric medium. Now here you can see the negative charge is accumulated on this surface and positive charge is accumulated on this surface, right? So this is the surface bound charge distribution, and here the surface bound charge density will be of this form we have seen, right? And inside the dielectric the volume bound charge density is minus del prime dot p, or if you want to tell this is divergence p, that is also okay. So minus divergence p. Now here this picture here whatever we are showing in the dielectric medium, that is similar to a long string of dipoles, right? Now along this line the head of one dipole, so the magnitude of each and every dipole moment are same. So the head of one dipole effectively cancels the tail of its neighbor, right? So but at the ends there are two charges left over. So in the left side there is minus charge, and in the right side there is a positive charge. So why it is happening? Because here the this inside charges are cancels out. So we can think that if polarization is uniform, then this can happen. So thus the dielectric is left with surface bound charge here or polarized surface charge on the surface of the dielectric. Now, so it is happening due to uniform polarization, because the if it is a uniform polarization, the volume charge density will be zero, divergence of constant polarization will be zero. So there will be no volume charge or polarized bound charge inside the dielectric medium, that will be zero. But if it is non-uniform polarization, then volume bound charge becomes non-zero and we get a finite volume bound charge density inside the dielectric medium. Now let's calculate the form of the bound charge. Now to calculate the bound charge, let us consider a tube of dielectric medium. Now here you can see at this surface of the tube, positive charge is accumulated, and here negative charge is accumulated due to application of electric field. And here we can consider this is a kind of dipole where this is the minus q charge and this is the plus q charge, and d is the distance between the charges, and here the length of the tube is d, right? So the dipole moment will be from negative to positive charge, and magnitude we can find out by this value of the charge into the distance between the positive and negative charge. So the dipole moment becomes qd. Now, according to the definition of polarization, that is electric dipole moment per unit volume, so we can find out the polarization like this. So here the electric dipole moment is qd, and instead of in place of q, if we write q is sigma pa, so here this p becomes sigma pad, and the magnitude we can write sigma pad, right? So the polarization vector, we can write the dipole moment per volume, and here volume is the area of this cross sectional area of this tube, which is a, and the length of the tube, that is d. So volume of this dielectric tube will be ad. So ad will cancel and we get the value is the surface polarization surface charge density, and the direction will be the along the unit normal on of this cross sectional area. So the polarization vector here is actually the parallel to the normal on this cross sectional area, right? Now if we take a oblique cut, so in that case you can see the normal on the cross sectional area of this oblique portion is not parallel to the polarization vector. So in that case we can write the a vector which is perpendicular, or the normal of this a surface is actually parallel to the p vector. So this a surface area is actually a prime cos theta, right? And here the total charge which is inside this tube, that is actually accumulated on the surface of this tube here. So that is sigma p, so q by a prime, because the charge is still same here. We are considering here charge is still same here, only the tube now becomes have a oblique cut. Okay, so instead of a prime, if we put a by cos theta, so it becomes q by a cos theta, so it becomes p cos theta. So p cos theta is basically p vector dot n cap, and this is actually the general form of the surface bound charge density, that is sigma p or sigma b, that is p vector dot n cap. Now if so, here actually we are considering that inside the tube of this dielectric medium there is no volume charge density, because the p polarization is very much uniform. But if it is non-uniform, in that case there will be accumulation of bound charge within the material and as well as on the surface. So thus there will be pile up of negative charge inside the dielectric medium, and the direction of polarization vector P inside the dielectric medium is from this piled up negative charge to the piled up positive charge. Now let us consider a Gaussian surface enclosing the negative charge. The total flux of the polarization vector P over this closed surface will be equal to the net volume bound charge enclosed by this surface, and that is the negative total negative charge bound charge total negative bound charge, and that is minus volume integration rho b d tau. So this charge in a given volume is actually equal and opposite to the amount that has been pushed out through the surface. So here the negative charge and this positive charge is same, right? So here we can write minus volume integration rho b d tau prime is actually the surface integration, the total flux due to the polarization vector, that is p vector dot dA prime. And if we use the Gauss's theorem from p vector dot dA prime, we can write volume integration divergence p d tau prime, right? So from here, for finite volume, we can write the volume charge density is basically minus divergence p vector. So we have obtained the volume bound charge density form and surface bound charge density form from the physical interpretation of the bound charge concept, also from the potential form of the of a polarized dielectric object. So that both are same, both are of same form, right? So we have to remember these two forms for future purpose when you are going to do numerical problems. So today I am ending here. In the next class, we will see the application of how to find out potential of a polarized dielectric sphere, uh, inside a electric field. And to do that, we need to understand the Laplace equation and how to solve second order differential equation in any polar coordinate, that we will do. Okay, thank you.